the Create and Thrive podcast, episode 12. 10 things you must do to have a successful online craft business. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Take those small steps every single day and, over time, you will grow and your business will grow and you'll reach that point of success. I'm Jess and this is the Create and Thrive podcast. A former school teacher, I turned my handmade hobby into a thriving business, and I also teach other creatives how to do the same. My goal is to help you learn how to turn your creative hobby into a thriving, profitable business. So let's get learning. So this week I'm going to talk to you about 10 things you must do to have a successful online craft business. This is actually one of the most popular posts on my blog that I wrote quite a while ago, but I thought it would be good to turn it into a podcast as well, for those of you who enjoy listening to the podcast. So, there's so much that goes into having a successful online craft business. It's a long path, it can be hard, and there's so many steps you have to take till you reach, a modicum of success. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've built up my business to the point where, through Ethereal, we now make more than I did through my last professional job, which is pretty awesome. Sometimes I can't quite believe that we've reached this point. I've now I've worked full time in the business for years. Nick's works with me full time in the business as well. And when I started out, this was a hobby for me, and it really did seem like an unattainable dream. The idea that I could be doing this for a living, full time. It seemed like something almost impossible, but it is possible, and I and many, many other people are living proof that it is possible to build a profitable, sustainable online handmade business. Now, it's not easy and it's not quick, but I wanted to share these 10 things with you today, the 10 things that I think are absolutely crucial to creating a successful online craft business. So the first one is to create something that people actually want to buy. And I've talked about this recently, this sweet spot, creating something that you want to make and that people really want to buy. Now, chances are, no matter what you make, you'll be able to find a customer for it. But it may be that, if you do a bit more research into who your ideal customer is and so on, you might be able to, find your niche, find a clearer niche that your product fits into that will help you to more easily connect with the right people, the people who want and need what you make. So before you kind of dive in and put heaps of money and time and energy into creating products, do a bit more research into, who's going to buy them, where they are, and that will help you to ensure that you're creating something that people really do want to buy. The second step is to work on it every day, but be patient. Okay? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Take those small steps every single day, and, over time, you will grow and your business will grow and you'll reach that point of success. You have to be really, really patient. It will take time. It's not something you can rush. Businesses don't grow overnight. It could take years for you to reach the point, where you're truly happy with where you are with your business. So just be dedicated, be patient, and be flexible. If something isn't working, change it and move in a new direction. Number 3, be friendly but professional. Okay, so I think especially in the handmade world, it's about connecting with people and building relationships one-on-one. So don't be afraid to be a real person. Don't do the whole we thing on your about page. If it's just you, use I, say me. It's okay. You don't have to pretend to be this big company when you're not. And in fact, I think that can work against you. So really focus on being friendly be professional. So be you, but be the best you is what I always say. Always respond promptly, answer questions, be generally helpful and friendly, and even if you don't get a sale, you'll have made a positive impact on someone who could potentially be a customer in the future, or they may talk positively about you to someone who is your ideal customer. So that's a really important point. And on this point, never ever complain about a customer in a public forum. Don't do it. Don't bring out don't complain about somebody. Don't name and shame. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look professional. It reflects badly on you. And if you need a private place, talk to someone, talk to your spouse, talk to your friends. If you are a member of a group like the Thriver Circle, go there, and somewhere private and safe that you can talk about customer service issues, because they will arise. You will have customers who you have difficulties with, and you'll have issues that arise. And yes, of course, you need help with them, but don't put it out there publicly. Find somewhere safe to talk about that. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to have beautiful photos. This really is the key to selling online. Having awesome photography is what will make you stand out, and it's what will draw people to your business. I say, your photos will make or break your business. They really are that important. It's probably, I would say 80 to 90% of the decision-making process people make simply by looking at the photos. They might read the descriptions. Sometimes they won't even read the descriptions. They'll just see the photo and go, yes, that's what I want, and bam, buy it. So, it's really, really important that those photos are really up to par. Now, what makes a good photo? Natural or filtered white light. Don't use direct sunlight, don't use flash unless you've got a filter over it, So if you're using lamps, you want to put some tracing paper or some sort of white material over it to diffuse the light. You want simple, consistent, yet iconic backgrounds. So don't use anything too busy that might detract from your item. But if you can, try to use something that screams your brand. You could use white backgrounds, that's fine, but sometimes when you're selling online, it's direct to your customer, it can be better to use something else that really makes your photos stand apart from all the others that are out there. For Ethereal, I have a couple of backgrounds. I have a couple of dark kind of paper backgrounds, and I use some wood as well in my backgrounds. So I use the darker paper for my silver jewellery, and I use the light coloured wood for my oxidized silver jewellery, because it makes the jewellery stand out against the background. So, think about what will make your product stand out, and don't over style it. You can have some other props and stuff, but don't use stuff that is too busy. Okay, that you want your product to be the star of the show. Okay, you want clear, crisp photos in perfect focus. If you're using macro, obviously the whole product might not be in focus, but you want the most important point to be in focus. You want it to be clear. Don't ever use blurry photos. Make sure it shows the whole product. And of course, you've got multiple. You'll have multiple photos, so you want to take all the different angles: a close-up, a far-away shot, a styled shot, a modelled shot to show the size and scale, and all those sorts of things. Okay, so that's important. And don't be afraid to use some interesting or intriguing angles. Okay, so you don't just have to take straight-on photos. Maybe something on a bit of an angle. Remember that first photo. The idea of the main photo for your product is to capture someone's attention and to entice them to click to find out more about the product. So you want that first photo to be enticing. Okay, number 5, my recommendation is to make reproducible items. Now this is specifically because we're selling online. You can make one-of-a-kind items, but honestly, it'll hold you back if you're only making one-of-a-kind items. The only way that it won't hold you back is if those items are really expensive. So, in the mid to upper hundreds, so that each time you sell one, you're making a day or two profit or something like that. So if you're making one-of-a-kind items, they really need to be very expensive, but otherwise, for most of us, the best idea is to make reproducible items. Okay, so you make a prototype, you make a design that you can reproduce that same design over and over and over again. And why is that important? Well, because when you're selling online, you have to do not just the making of the product, but all the other stuff that goes with it, right? So you have to take photos of it, you have to edit the photos, you have to upload the photos, you need to write a title, you need to write a description, you need to come up with keywords, etc., etc., etc. And all of that extra work goes on top of just making the product. So if you make reproducible items, you don't have to do all that extra work more than once. Like my bestseller, I've sold hundreds, possibly thousands, but definitely in the mid to upper hundreds of that item. And I only had to do all that extra stuff once. And then every time it sells, it just renews, or in my Etsy shop, or it's just available in my online shop. And that's it. That's all I have to do then is make the item. And it can keep selling and selling and selling. So reproducible items are extremely important and powerful to be able to grow your business, because you only have so much time, and time that you spend doing all that other work, the photography, writing, etc., is time you can't spend actually making product that you sold. So you will come up against a wall eventually where you simply don't have time to make any more products, and by having reproducible items, you save yourself a lot of that extra time. Okay, number 6 is to believe in your work and yourself fiercely, but be open to change. Okay, so you really need to believe in yourself. You really need to believe that what you make is awesome, because if you don't believe that, why will other people? And you need to put that out into the world and be proud of what you make. Really, really love it. Love it fiercely, but be open to change and growth. Okay? If you've been working your butt off for weeks, months, even years, and you're just not making any progress, something needs to change. I don't know what that something is, only you will be able to know what that is. But something will need to change, okay? It might be what you make, it might be your photographs, it might be how you're speaking about your product. Who knows? You're going to have to figure that out. So, love what you do, but be open to the fact that in order to succeed, you might need to make some changes. And it's not a bad thing. Change is the only constant. Everything changes, everything evolves. So don't be afraid of making some changes. Number 7 is to get a mailing list. Email really is still the most direct and effective way to connect with your customers. Okay? Why? Well, you can do all those other things. You can write a blog, you can use social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. But people can still, ignore or miss that. But if you have someone's email and you have the ability to directly contact them via email, it's really, really powerful, because they've shown that they trust you. They trust you with their email, which is really, really powerful. Okay, so they've already given you something special, their email address, and so they have a closer relationship with you. And getting in contact with people through their inbox really is the most powerful way that you can get in touch with people. So do treat that with respect. When you have someone's email, treat it with respect. Don't spam them. Give value in the email that you send. Stay in touch with them on a regular basis. And hopefully they'll reward that by becoming loyal customers. Number 8 is to price for profit. Okay, so we all struggle with pricing. It's something that a lot of us have no experience with when we start out. And so, we generally tend to price too low. And the reason we price too low is because, we know what it costs to make this thing. Well, to us, it's easy, or, at least we understand how to do it. And so we tend to price too low because we don't value our skills. So don't do that. Make sure when you do work out your prices, that you have a profit margin in there. And don't I think it's really important in the handmade industry not to try to compete on price. Okay, if you're competing on price, you become a commodity. But if you are competing on other things, you're a brand. Okay, so commodities compete on price because somebody can get the same thing from multiple places. They don't really care where they get it from because they just want the cheapest. It's like, buying a new TV. You know the TV you want. You shop around at all the different retailers, find the one that has the cheapest, has it for the cheapest, and you buy it there. Okay, that's a commodity. You want to be a brand. You want to stand out and be, why do people buy from you? It's not because you're the cheapest, it's because you give them exactly what they want, okay, whatever that may be. So there will always be someone who is selling something similar to what you make for less than you. Don't try to undercut them, because that just creates a vicious undercutting cycle. You just need to do the work to figure out what price you need to set, and then you just need to go with it and stick with it and be confident in that. And it can be scary and it can be hard, but it's worth doing because you're trying to build a business here, right? You're trying to build something that is sustainable and profitable, and by charging too little, you won't be able to do that. So it's really, really important. Number 9 is to get your own website or blog. Okay, so blogging is great. If you're comfortable with blogging, do it. It's really, really powerful. Not only is it a powerful way to connect with your audience and build a relationship with them, it's also a great it's a great marketing tool for SEO, so search engine optimization. Google likes new content. It allows you to use all the keywords for your business over and over again, and when people go to Google or Bing or whatever to search for you, you'll be more likely to come up. Okay, so having a blog can be really, really powerful. Failing that, just a website, even if it's just a landing page with a link to your offline, your off-site shop, and an about page and a way to contact you. It just looks so much more professional when you put the work in to have your own website. So it can be really, really simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. The absolute minimum, buy your domain name, so yourbusiness.com, and redirect that to your Etsy shop or your felt shop or your made it shop or whatever online venue you're selling at. That's the absolute minimum. And then on your business cards, and everywhere else that you put your website link, you can put a .com rather than a venue, which makes your business look a lot more professional. So ideally, you want to get to the point where somewhere down the track, you have your own website that you own and you sell on, which will, that's something that we all want to reach eventually, because that's a whole another level of professionalism. But if you're not tech savvy, or that sounds overwhelming, don't stress about it for now. Just start with the basics. Buy a domain name, set up a one-page website, whatever. Okay, awesome. And number 10 is really simple, and it's to learn. Learn. In business, there is no such thing as done. Okay, there is always more to do, new things to try, mistakes to be made, unexpected journeys, and new things to learn. So when you're in business, you need to be constantly learning, experimenting, and taking leaps into the unknown. Because if you don't try, sure, you can't fail. But if you do try, you'll fail over and over again, but you'll learn something more every time. So just keep learning and keep trying and keep experimenting. So that's it, guys. Those are my 10 tips, or 10 things that you must do to have a successful online craft business. I'd love to hear what your tips are. What's worked for you, what you found absolutely crucial to the success of your business, and come over and share that over on the blog. Head over to createandthrive.com/CT podcast, or just head over to the blog and look for episode 12 and leave your comments and share that with us. And I'd love to hear, what's worked with you, and I'd also love to hear, what you're struggling with. Circle, we'll discuss this in the Thriver Circle. So same thing, come on over and let me know what you think about what I've shared today, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I'm Jess Van Den, and this has been the Create and Thrive podcast.